Hi and welcome to another Innsmouth Gold videocast. We're going to start today with Atomic Age Cthulhu. This is another one in the ongoing Chaosium Cthulhu Mythos series. This has been out since 2015, but I picked it up just a few weeks ago. And I have to say, with the Chaosium series, you're always guaranteed of a good collection of stories. So this volume of 19 stories is edited by Glyn Owen Barris and Brian M. Sammons, and as you might gather from the title and the cover art, it's set in the 1950s. As the editors say in the introduction, this is an ideal setting for Lovecraft. You've got Cold War paranoia, McCarthyism, there's a real fear of the unknown and the outsider, and of course for the first time in history, mankind had the ability to wipe themselves out in a nuclear apocalypse. So this is all fertile ground for exploring Lovecraft's mythos. So the threat of atomic war is of course a major theme in many of the stories, but there are other settings as well. For example, there's small town America, there's rock and roll and hot rods, there's even one that is set in the Soviet Union that revolves around the Sputnik mission, which is very good. Famous people from the era also make an appearance. There's a very nice mashup of William Burroughs and Lovecraft in Eldritch Lunch by Adam Bolivar. That works very well. And Ed Wood also makes an appearance in Yellow is the Colour of the Future by Jason Andrew. That's another very good story. I think the favourite story of mine in the collection, and I have to say it's one of the most disturbing short stories I've read for some time, is Within the Image of the Divine by Bear Whiter. I'm not really going to say too much about it, but it's kind of post-apocalypse, post-old ones, and it really is quite a disturbing tale. I also very much enjoyed Robert M. Price's story, Names on the Blacklist, that deals directly with McCarthyism. Of course, with Robert M. Price, you're always assured of getting a good mythos story. Though the stories not only range in setting and style, but also in tone. Some of them are a little more light-hearted than others. Some, as I've already mentioned, are very disturbing indeed. But overall, they're a very good read. I found there was only one story that I kind of skimmed through a little bit. Other than that, all the stories really held my attention. I enjoyed them very much. So definitely worth getting if you're into the mythos, and another great addition to the Chaosium series. It's also interesting for me to see how Lovecraft's themes work in different eras, different places, different cultures, different times. I guess partly because, as Lovecraft said himself, he's dealing with universal emotions and fear in particular. But it's also interesting to see how those recurring themes of paranoia, of fear of the unknown, of man's futility of our existence, how they resonate in so many different times and places as well. So overall, a great addition to your mythos library, and I look forward to seeing what future settings Chaosium are going to come up with. So you may remember in episode 2 we looked at Ghost Stories of an Antiquary, M.R. James, the graphic novel adaptation. That was volume 1, and volume 2 was promised. I'm pleased to say that has arrived. I just got this a couple of days ago. So it's volume 2. It's the same team doing the adaptation, Leah Moore and John Reppion, but this time they've got different artists in to do 4 stories. We start with number 13, the story of a man in a hotel who keeps finding a room 13 where there shouldn't really be one. And I have to say, the artwork and adaptation on this are really first class. I enjoyed this even more than the TV adaptation of the same story. It captures the atmosphere perfectly. The second story is Count Magnus, which is illustrated by Abigail Larson. I really like this art as well. I thought it had almost a kind of Poe-esque quality, if Poe-esque is a word. And one very nice touch is the lighting from the stained glass windows that appear here and there through the story. So again, a very good adaptation and excellent artwork. So the third offering is O Whistle and I'll Come to You, illustrated by Al Davison. I think this is probably my favourite M.R. James story about a man who finds a whistle in an old ancient site, and rather foolishly he blows it and things develop from there, of course. The artwork is very good again, and he does a real nice contrast between the normal world and that kind of nightmare world, that nighttime world that the protagonist gets drawn into. I did feel slightly disappointed. I don't know if it's because I had such high hopes for the story, or maybe because I've seen the TV adaptations, which have always paced this story very well. But I felt it just felt a little bit rushed to me, and I would have liked a little bit more time to develop the atmosphere. Having said that, it's still a very good adaptation. So the collection's rounded off with The Treasure of Abbot Thomas by Megan Hetrick. Different style of artwork again, very colourful, almost psychedelic in places, I'd say, in contrast of course to the main scene of the story, which is in a very dark place. My only slight niggle with this story was the appearance of the creature, for want of a better word. To me it didn't quite get that same feeling of darkness and horrible touch and contact that you get in James's writing. But that minor niggle aside, another great adaptation. So it's published by Self-Made Hero. I think it's retailing at $9.95, or you can get the pair at a discount price. If you like M.R. James, then these are an essential buy, I think. If you're just interested in graphic novels, then you'll like these, I'm sure. Really great artwork, and of course the really great stories as well. While we're talking about M.R. James, I'd just like to plug Nunkey Productions again. If you haven't seen any of their work, basically it's a one-man reading of M.R. James' stories, though I understand he is now also branching out into H.G. Wells and other stories as well. So the performances take place in small venues for the most part, sometimes stately homes or small theatres, and if you get a chance, really do go and see him. It really is a great night out. It's amazing the atmosphere that one person just speaking with minimal lighting and very few props or anything else, he really does get the atmosphere of the stories, which of course were written by M.R. James to be read out himself. So it's a nice continuation of James's idea. So I just want to finish today with news that my first Sword and Sorcery novel has been published. It's going to be going on sale next week. We're going to be doing a proper launch next week. It's called Wolf in Shadows, and it's the story of a young northern barbarian and his first encounter with ancient and evil civilization. It's very much an homage to and in the vein of Robert E. Howard, so if you like the Conan stories and all those kind of classic sword and sorcery tales, I hope you'll enjoy it. We're running a special offer for viewers of the video blog at the moment. If you go to our website and put in the discount that's popping up on the screen now, you can get a 20% discount. That's on paperback, PDF, and it's also available in EPUB format as well. So please get a copy, and I hope you enjoy it, and please also be nice to hear any feedback on the book as well. It's the first one in a series, so it's going to be a continuing saga. The second one is already in the offing, so to speak. So that wraps things up for this episode. As always, if you like what we're doing, please subscribe, please share, follow us on social media, and also give us any comments or feedback. Always welcome. We're coming up to Halloween, so the next episode is going to be just in time for Halloween, and it's going to be a Frankenstein special. See you then.